My pastor's wife is a lot.
Can't imagine.
So when we're about getting married, this girl, I said, are you sure it was Anwuli you want to marry? Are you sure she's the one you want to marry? Because she doesn't look like a pastor's wife. She doesn't look like a pastor, doesn't look like this. My husband said, I'm not looking for a pastor, I'm looking for a wife. Because that's women promise it. I'm looking for a wife that will support me. I'm not looking for a pastor. So I'm telling you, that girl, when my husband told me about it, we have not gotten married yet, we're preparing to get married. Imagine 2 weeks to getting married. One girl like that. I said binding. I said Holy Ghost fire. Thank God my husband understood these things early enough. He could have looked at me again and said, she's not a man, she's not been ordained. She's not a pastor. Anyway, I was so fragile. So what do I know about pastoring? It was married. My husband was the one that groomed me, everything that you're saying here. So you can imagine, she's not a pastor's wife. I don't believe she's not a pastor's wife. No. She's one that looked like the pastor's wife. So thank God my husband was rich in his mindset.
Thank God.
That missed out on me.
Awesome. I like what you said about you praying and binding and casting. I want to ask a question, practical. As a married woman, having a husband who interacts with people, counseling and all the like. So how do you guard your home? How do you guard the place of
I need to crack my throat for this. Wow, yes, I pray a lot. Hey. I used to do things in a wrong way before. Maybe I'll try to, those some spiritual daughters. They will call your husband I don't understand all those kind of things.
So how do you handle that?
How do I handle it? I pray. I pray. I take my time to pray. I don't pray out of fear. I've left my marriage in God's hand. I don't, because many people make the mistakes. You are fidget, you are praying. You want to now begin to do things out of fear. You will still lose the person. You want to begin to keep your shape out of fear. You want to dress out of... I was telling somebody a few days ago, I said, I dress first for myself. My husband's compliment is extra. I dress first for myself. I look good first. So at the day I'm falling out of shape and I feel like my husband is losing attraction towards me, I'm on board that this is me and I will get myself, but not out of fear. I don't pray shaking and like, hey, I told you I didn't want to marry a pastor, number one. So it's God that carried me inside the marriage. It's the same God that keeps the marriage. However, I mentioned something. I said I was handling things the wrong way. Before I'll take my husband's phone, I will check his WhatsApp messages. And then I realized that WhatsApp message doesn't reveal. It's God that knows what's up. Why don't you dwell in the secret place of God so He can reveal secrets to you?
WhatsApp messages
don't give what's up.
Oh my God! I hope you got that. Nice. That's
yeah. So I will check his messages. Hypertension. Even the message that doesn't. There's no message. It's like you just when you just imagine for example somebody just sends you my father, my daddy. You'd have eaten apple love like 3 love.
Hey,
Jesus,
my God.
You have to be beautiful. So I had to stop it. I had to tell myself, I only WhatsApp, don't give WhatsApp.
It doesn't.
It is God. It is God that protects. It's only God that can protect your husband. It's not. Did he come with issues? He did. So it's not like I just say, hey, it's God that protects. He came with his own issues. I'll say one message, I'll say, sweet. This person, did I do?
Let me hear you.
So I had to adjust. I had to talk to myself. I had to pray. And then, of course, you're a human being. Sometimes you see some things, I mean, some things is just see some people, the way they flaunt around, And then, as a pastor, you have to give attention to people. You're a human being. And then, when it comes to when my heart is like beginning to become, somehow, I just go back to God. Because sometimes even when you have to communicate to your husband, his flesh, he might begin to read, say the things that you're not actually really saying. So I go back to God and I pray. I say, God, and I leave him to God. And when I started deliberately leaving my husband in God's hand, I became at peace consistently. Yes. Flesh can never give you peace. The spirit that produces peace.
That's profound. Thank you. Thank you so much. So there was this one time, this recently, not too recently, about a year ago, having a conversation. I remember you asking.
Sorry, I want to also add this. When we say I trust my husband, all this I'm saying that is not because I don't trust him by going to his message. You are a human being. However, I am learned in marriage, 12 years in marriage. Trust God above your spouse. Many times unconsciously, the reason why all of these things play out, you want to check, you want to do this. If you check yourself very well, unconsciously you have become too attached to your husband, trusting him so much that you have neglected your place where you should abandon your trust in God. So it starts with subconscious and becomes a conscious thing. You just see yourself trusting your husband. Oh, he's a man of God. He's the anointed. You focus your attention on him, focus your trust on him rather than trusting in God. So so sometimes when it looks like probably he's doing certain things that are not aligning, you begin to blame him, not knowing that he is also a human being, he's man, and he can fail, he can falter, he can sometimes disalign, right? So the only way to keep him in check is to communicate with God. Abandon your trust on God. Have trust in, I would say this in summary, trust in God more than you trust your spouse. I'm not saying don't trust him, but don't trust your spouse above trusting God. Trust in God. Be conscious. Trust in God above trusting your spouse. It is your trust in God that will save, not your trust in your spouse.
Yeah. And I also heard recently that the fact that your spouse loves you does not mean you cannot fall into error.
Of course.
Look
at Elkanah and Hannah. Elkanah loved Hannah, but there was a Penina, right? Yes. So love is not enough, really. Anything can happen in marriage. That's the truth. We don't pray for it, right? But I want us to understand that love is not enough. Our love for God should be topmost priority. But when you love God, you love your spouse in the right way, and you love your spouse enough to pray for your spouse when you love God. But when your love for God is declining, your love for your spouse will decline. I have observed it. In fact, I've actually experienced it. When I'm not rooted in the word, I'm not given to prayers, I get easily irritated by what my husband does, and I respond in a reactive manner. But when I love God, even when he does something that should offend me, I will be offended, but the Holy Spirit positions me to respond in a different way. You cannot do marriage without loving God.
That's so profound.
I'm igniting certain things.
So profound. Okay, so let's just take one more question. Still on the issue of spouse, marriage, and everything. We had a conversation the other day, like I think last year, about social media and the effect it has on relationship, in families, particularly when your spouse is physically present, but they're not physically present because they're on their phone. So the effect of social media on marriage. So how do we curb it in our generation? How could this distraction that it has become? It has taken the place of physical communication. People are more on their phones now, even among spouses. I was at a restaurant the other day, and there was this man and woman, maybe just boyfriend, girlfriend. I don't think they were married, but they were on their phones throughout. Probably just take a picture of the food, and they barely spoke to each other. So how do we curb this issue that is eating into
it's
our
really,
generation?
I'm not going to lie, it's really eating deeply into marriages. That if we're not careful enough, people become so used to their phones that they no longer need the presence of their spouse. Yeah. In fact, I've often, gotten some feedback during my counseling where if a partner is angry, they just go back on their phone and they don't really send. And this is gradually eating really deep. They're not careful. So for me, I would advise that sometimes couples should have a phone fast. It will help you to really test if you guys are united. There are couples who are staying together, but they're not living together. They are under the same roof, but they are not actually living together. There are people who started as friends, but they're no longer friends in marriage. Phones have eaten deep. I mean, you get so used to your phones. Find yourself one chatting with other people, calling other people, and then your spouse is there. So we need to begin to employ phones fast in our marriage. You can just take 3 days out. It will make you know if you guys are really close. If you guys are not going to just sit down and you don't have anything you're talking about. So some people need to have phone fast. Some couples need to have phone fast so that they can see if their marriage is really thriving or their marriage is dying. There are weeds. Phone has become a weed in marriage that needs to be pulled off. However, we cannot shut down on our social media, but we can minimize it. Maybe also, apart from phone fast, couples need to also sit and say, okay, maybe we need to reduce this so and so. We need to have time out with ourselves. And then you put out a rule, no phones. Maybe you are going out, it's as bad as when people even go out on dates. Couples go out on dates. Right there, they are hanging and they're sitting down in a restaurant. They're pressing their phone. So is it possible that we have what we call phones fast, not just phone fast, we're having this quality time. when your phone comes in, it's no longer quality time. Can you have the phones out and all that? So I also think that couples should have evaluation in their marriage. Talk about your marriage. People talk about other things, gossip about other people. We never talk about their marriage. Let's talk about us. Is it possible to have a day, a time in your mind where you talk about yourselves, review? This person listens to this person talking, listen to each other, and then understand how to navigate your marriage. And then, if phones have become a bad habit that you need to carefully eradicate or gradually eradicate. If we don't do this deliberately, we will not know when we are no longer bonding.
Yeah, I think that's the key. Just being deliberate, being intentional, because it's just very subtle, very subtle. Exactly. And I feel like the devil is just out this generation just to pollute, to distract, to.
And please, husbands, listen to your wives when you tell you they need the attention. Please, is it possible that you listen, you're on phone, you're talking? So these are deliberate things we need to do. Wives as well. There are wives who are very addicted to their phones. So we need to see how we can build friendship. If we're not intentional, the friendship cannot jump. It won't jump. The bonding will not jump. The unity will not jump. We have to be intentional. While God is giving us wisdom that is not practiced is stagnant. It can't be utilized. Nothing comes out of it. You can't see any fulfillment when God is giving you wisdom and you're not utilizing it. So we need to sit down and use the wisdom God is giving us to make our marriage progressive.
Wow, this has been so deep, so enriching, so enlightening. Thank you. I know I'm on your show, but I have been blessed. I have been blessed. And I trust that our viewers have been blessed. So thank you so much for all that you have shared.
Thank you so much.